Yes, Alec Baldwin has found himself in some extremely hot water. The long arm of the law over there in New Mexico is reaching out to touch him. It seems to me like he very possibly could end up going to prison. How's everybody doing today? My name is Ty with Right IQ. Thank you for joining me today. And before I get into this story, I want to remind everybody who hasn't subscribed to Right IQ yet, go ahead and subscribe. See that button right down there? It says subscribe. Hit that button right there so that way you stay caught up with all of the news and current events that are coming up and get my take on that. And also, another thing that's coming up is on Rumble, we will start doing some extra content over there. So, if you are not subscribed to me over there on Rumble, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to find me over there, go ahead and type in Right IQ, RIGHTIQ, one word, and our channel should come up. Go ahead and subscribe there, and you will be finding some content that we just can't play over here on YouTube. And that will be coming up in the very near future, so don't miss that. So let's go ahead and get into the story. Now, everybody's familiar with Alec Baldwin. He's made quite a bit of waves in the past with some of his shenanigans, and he's got a little bit of a temper problem. And he has assaulted a couple reporters. He got into an altercation with somebody in the parking lot of a grocery store about, a parking spot. He got a little mad over a parking spot that Alec Baldwin believed that he was entitled to. So he got into a little argument there. So he's got a track record of being a little bit unhinged. I think that's fair to say. Anyways, he has gotten himself into some trouble. You guys have all heard about the shooting that happened on the set of the movie Rust, where Alec Baldwin was not only the lead actor there, but he was also the producer there. And he ended up, the accident happened because a gun was loaded with a live round instead of a dummy round, or instead of using a faux pistol like a plastic or rubber pistol. So, anyways, the gun went off, ended up shooting Halyna Hutchins, and she's a cinematographer over there, and went through her and hit Joel Souza, the director. Now, Joel survived. Halyna Hutchins did not survive. She passed away. And so Alec Baldwin is facing 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Each charge carries up to 18 months in jail and a fine of up to $5,000 each. Now, I don't think he's too worried about the $5,000, price tag that he may have to pay. I think he's a little bit more worried about the 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Now, involuntary manslaughter doesn't mean that you shot somebody on purpose, and I think we can all agree that I don't believe that I don't believe that he shot the director and the cinematographer on purpose. But it was definitely some negligence involved. And if I do say so myself, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy as far as having these charges stick to him. Because he has been kind of, playing a part since this thing happened. And it's really disingenuous the way he's been acting. At first, he acted like he was the victim of this entire thing, while the husband of Halyna Hutchins is mourning the death of her of his wife. He's out, Alec Baldwin's out there acting like, he is the victim in this whole thing. And he went on interviews stating that, he didn't shoot the gun. He never pulled the trigger. It just went off on its own and everything like that. It's all a bunch of BS. And I think we all know that is a self-defense mechanism that he's pulling right there. And he's been trying to pull at the heartstrings like he's the victim in this. And he's really not. But let's go ahead and get into the charges. We have Mary Carmack Altwies, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. She is the Santa Fe District Attorney, and she did an interview on CNN. And I want to go ahead and let her go ahead and describe what these charges are and what these charges mean.
Well, and those are two counts in the alternative. So when this goes in front of a jury, the jury could find they're guilty on both, but since they're in the alternative, they will only be sentenced as to one count. The first part of the involuntary that we'll be charging is that they acted without due caution and circumspection, meaning they weren't just negligent in their duties, but that they were on notice, that they had duties, and that they should have done or not done something that didn't happen on that set, meaning they should have checked the bullets. They should have checked the gun. They shouldn't have even been using a live gun that day. They should have been using a rubber or a plastic gun. All of these things go together and show that there was just this complacency, lack of care on that set, and it's more than negligence, and I would say it rises to recklessness. The other is goes hand in hand with a misdemeanor, a petty misdemeanor here in New Mexico called negligent use of a deadly weapon, and that is that someone handled or used or touched a gun in a negligent manner. And once we show that, then that can lead to the second alternative theory of involuntary manslaughter.
Now, as this story heats up, we can never forget who the actual victim of this accident is, and that's Halyna Hutchins, because she was just there doing her job, doing her best to make Alec Baldwin look good through this whole thing, and so we don't want to lose sight of who the true victims of this situation is. But with that being said, Alec Baldwin had a responsibility to make sure that he was handling these firearms correctly. Now, anybody that's ever done any type of training or anybody that has any knowledge of a gun, you know that when you pick up a gun, you should always assume that it's loaded. You never point it at anybody. You never pick it up and, clean it unless you make sure that there is nothing in the chamber. You check that every single time you pick up a gun. And so he can blame this on other people all he wants, but the end responsibility lands on his shoulders. He is the producer of this show, and from what I understand, there was some pretty they were playing fast and loose with the policies over there on that set. Like I wasn't able to find the article or the footage for this, but if I remember correctly, they would go shooting out into the they would have like they would go shooting with live ammo while they weren't shooting, and then go back over there and use the same gun, just change out the bullets. Now, I can't verify that for sure, so don't quote me on that, and I'm not making any claims here, but what that goes to show you is that they were playing fast and loose with how the rules were done, and from what I understand, there were some accidents, some misfires and things like that should have never happened in the first place. You look at all of the movies where they have all of these people, these actors shooting people, and then they get off of their set and then they talk about how guns are evil and everything like that. Well, look, if you had the slightest knowledge about guns, you would understand that they are more of a tool than they are a weapon. Yes, a tool can be used as a weapon, but the main point of them is for self-defense and for hunting and things like that. And if you don't treat a tool, I don't care what tool you're talking about, if you don't treat a tool with respect, you're going to get hurt or you're going to hurt other people. All tools, all firearms need to be handled with the utmost respect at all times. You never let down your gun. You never assume that it's not loaded. On a movie set, you should never assume that the person that handed you that gun didn't hand you a gun with live rounds in it. You should be responsible and check that for yourself, or at least trust the person that is actually there checking your gun for you. But from what I understand, the person that handed in that gun wasn't the person that was supposed to clear those guns in the first place, so he should not have trusted that person to begin with. Now, let me go ahead and go over we have a professional over there on Fox News that he has done a few investigations as far as shootings on the sets of movies, and he did he was part of the investigation on the Brandon Lee scenario from way back in the day. And he was part of that investigation to determine whether that was an accident, whether it could have been avoided, or whatever the situation was. And he did a spot over there on Fox News. And listen to what he's got to say about this scenario over here with Alec Baldwin on the set of Rust.
Well, first of all, live ammo could be anywhere. They don't search the crew. People don't go through a metal detector on their way to set every day. So there's always a presumption that live ammo could be around. That's why you check the gun every time you handle it. You check the gun when you pick it up. You pick it up, you open the port, you rotate the cylinder, look in there, show it to the actor, hand it to the actor. The actor looks inside. When everyone knows that there's no ammo, then you go on with it.
He was the producer of that set, and he was the main actor of that set. Everybody was looking to him to guide them on what the policies should be. And he didn't handle that properly. And anybody who has spent any time around guns understands that there is no reverse gear on a bullet. If you discharge your firearm accidentally and it hits somebody, it doesn't matter if it was an accident. That has no impact on what the facts are. If you discharge that accidentally and you end up shooting somebody, it is your fault. It is your responsibility to make sure that every single firearm that you pick up, you are handling it responsibly. Let's go ahead and listen to what else this gentleman had to say.
What I think happened, and based on some of the footage that I saw from the rehearsal, is that Alec was holding the gun with his finger through the trigger guard. So his finger was resting on the trigger. And in a gun of this type, if your finger is resting on the trigger, when you pull the hammer back, the hammer will drop and fire. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what happened. So I think not intentional, but, deadly nonetheless.
So
deadly because they ignored the safety procedures that were widely known.
Well, that's what the
in his
DA is charging.
There are mistruths in his statement, right? When he says he relied upon the experts, where were those experts he was relying on? Anna was his expert, and she was not there.
Yeah, very irresponsible and very unfortunate. Like I had mentioned earlier, if you're chaotic and dysfunctional in your personal life, why would you expect your work life to be any different? I don't understand why they could have found anybody to produce this video. Why did they have to let Alec Baldwin do it? For me, that doesn't make any sense. He could have acted in, been the star actor in this movie, and there could have been some very responsible people that he surrounded himself with, but he didn't. It sounds to me like he was the most responsible person there. Unfortunately for Halyna Hutchins. And look, there are consequences to your actions, and even if it's on accident, you still did it. You still killed her. She will not be coming home to her family. She will not be coming home to her kids. She will not be coming home to her husband. And they are going to have to live with your mistake, Alec, for the rest of their life. I hope that that's something you can live with. But you are facing some charges here. And I kind of think they should be a little bit higher, the consequences. But it looks to me like you're probably not going to get off of this. But let's hear what she's got to say. Let's hear what the Attorney General over there in Santa Fe has to say about this.
And we know from our investigation that there had been accidental misfires prior to this, that there were people that were complaining about safety on set. And so he should have been aware that safety was an issue on set. And then as an actor that day, he should have checked that gun, checked those projectiles.
Yeah, she's right, Alec. She's right. And don't insult the Hutchins family by pretending that you're the victim here, because you're not. You have never been the victim your entire life. Never. So don't insult them by acting like, you carried no responsibility here, because you did. Now he's going to get up to 18 months. Now, if you ask me, he's probably, if he does do 18 months, it's not going to be in San Quentin or, you know, someplace hard like that. It's going to be in some fluffy place where, you know, he can probably do it very easily. Maybe even get, you know, I don't know, the judge might be soft on him and give him, you know, probation and, you know, house arrest for a while. Who knows? I just have a hard time believing that they're going to really throw the book at him. But I believe that something's going to happen to him. But if he can, but if he ends up serving half of the 18 months, if he just serves 9 months in prison, he will come out a different person, I believe. I hope so, because, you know, prison has a way of changing people. It either makes them worse or it makes them better. And so I hope that, I hope they throw the book at him because he deserves it. And, unfortunately, Hutchins, got caught in the crossfire of Alec Baldwin's karma. And she had to pay the price so that he could learn a very valuable lesson. So let's pray for Halyna Hutchins' family and her kids. And let's pray that they throw the book at Alec Baldwin because he deserves this. This is his fault. The blame on this doesn't land on anybody else's shoulders except for his own. And it's very unfortunate. In a situation like this, there's no winners. I would love to come in here and be extremely happy that Alec Baldwin's going to be going to prison. But in order for him to go to jail, he had to take somebody off of this planet. And I'm not here judging her character on whether she was a good person or a bad person. I don't think it matters. What I think matters is that she's not here anymore, and she should be. And she would be if it wasn't for Alec Baldwin and his not respecting the firearms that he has in his hand. And, I mourn for the family. I'm glad Joel Souza, recovered from this situation. And from what I understand, they're going to be reshooting, or they're going to shoot the rest of this movie with Alec Baldwin. We'll see how it turns out. I'm not going to go see it. I'm not going to support that movie. I think that movie's probably cursed right now. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not interested in it. But you tell me what your guys' thoughts are on this. Did you like the video? Was this you guys want to see more of these type of videos? Do you believe that he's innocent? Do you believe that they should throw the book at him? Do you think that he will escape justice in this matter? I don't know. Let me know. So with that being said, like I mentioned at the beginning, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm so that I get noticed more on YouTube. And don't forget to go over to Rumble and subscribe over there. I'd be happy to see you guys over there. And like I mentioned, we will be starting to put out some different types of content over there that I can't put out over here on YouTube. With that being said, I hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe, and I will see you folks on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.